Hello, Light and Bone Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. This is something I'm new to. It's still just a fairly elaborate hobby at this point, so I'm really grateful that anyone watches these videos. So thank you so much. I've tried to put my own spin on them with captions on pictures, and these are pictures that I, just find online. Free images, and I'm just putting them together for inspiration and see what stands out. So the first one, so we have 3 pictures of shoes, and the caption or the question is what makes you stand out? And then we have you fancy, me, and on trend. So let's go with you fancy. We have a pair of heels here. I personally don't wear heels anymore. I just never ever have a reason to, but I absolutely used to, and I love when people do wear heels. I think they're so pretty. But yeah, let's see again. Let's get a snapshot of who you are, so you can get an idea of what makes you stand out. And I just got these tarot cards, so I'm hoping, I'm hoping I like them as much as I think I do. The pink is just, it's so pretty. Okay, so this is for the first picture of the heels, and we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Fool, and the Magician. I mean, I love the Fool and the Magician card. To me, there is just kind of that the Fool is, he can do anything in my eyes because he's not afraid of anything, because there's just no fear there. I think the Fool likes being an exhibitionist in some ways. I think they like the attention on them. I think they like being noticed. I think they, there's something about the Fool, there's just this attractive quality. Even if they're doing something silly or almost stupid, I still feel like the Fool is just a fun person. And I think they're charismatic to that point. They probably can be a bit annoying and over the top. I think they can get tiresome. Yes, I absolutely think they can become tiresome, but they are, it's a fun card. It's ruled by Uranus, which I don't know a whole lot about, need to learn more about, but I know it's an air card. And I know it also goes with the crown chakra. So that's, I don't know that the Fool thinks about a whole lot, so it's funny for me that it would be the crown chakra. I feel like it would be more like a guttural instinct, sacral or solar plexus. But yes, maybe it's the crown chakra because he's so confident and secure that he isn't, his chakra is totally open, his crown chakra is totally open. I'm not sure, but I think the Fool card is good for these reasons, and I feel like someone who steps out wearing heels is probably similar to that. If you've got the Magician and the Fool next to each other, then I'm feeling like you are someone who can make anything happen. The Magician is one of those cards that, for me, it really does just make me think of magic. It makes me think of someone powerful, someone who can, just manifest, someone who knows what they want and goes after it. There is a absolute power to this card. And I also think of someone who's skillful, who isn't silly, who's in control, who knows what they want. They're kind of there's a path that you're on. And then the Ace of Pentacles is also a very it's a no-nonsense card to me. I mean, it's hopeful. Actually, there can be a little nonsense there, but still, it makes me think of a path. It makes me think that if you're the Ace of Pentacles, you're wanting something, you know what you want. There's something on your mind that you're goaling towards in a way. I feel like with aces, there's this potential that, something can take place. And with Pentacles, I think that maybe you have this potential to really create a prosperity or an abundance, something that you have, just been kind of meditating on and thinking on. And this is a fun first light, and just the fact that it's in pink just makes me happy. So I hope Hope everyone likes pink. Yeah, because I do think these readings always come back to like a sense of romance or love or questions about your relationship. And so far, if this line speaks to you, then I think that's awesome. Let's get a couple more things to another snapshot. I'm going to start trying my layouts a little differently so they don't all look the same. I'm going to see, let's get a card to highlight the Magician, and then we're going to get a card to highlight the Ace of Pentacles, and this is still a snapshot of who you are. So with the Empress, beautiful, beautiful card. I mean, it is like, it's everything from just this overflowing bounty, which this simple card doesn't quite describe, but it is like the ultimate feminine energy card. It's the like, it's what you want to be. Everyone wants to be the Empress. I mean, she is so regal, feminine, beautiful. She knows herself. She knows her heart. She's royalty. She's everything that's feminine. I think there's just this sense of like a little bit of wisdom to her. I think she's balanced. I think she knows herself. She's everything that you would want to be. And if you pair that with the Magician, well, I think you're doing okay. I think you can literally make just about anything happen. And when I think of like, you know, these saucy, shiny pair of, I believe, pink heels, I just think like the person who wears these is really, really confident. It doesn't mean they're confident in every aspect of their life, but they're confident in that like they want to look good, they want to get noticed, they want someone to see them, and I think that that is a very just fun way to be. And yeah, I think there's a bit of fun here, just as the Magician would completely imply, and the Fool. Yeah, this isn't someone who's like, you know, putting on a pair of work boots. This is someone who is like regal when they go out, who really like commands the room, who really has this like just command of themselves, like a self-control and a beauty. And this card, I'm not doing upside downs, but we've got the Seven of Pentacles. And I mean, it's fun to get the Pentacles mixed in, because I think actually I think you work hard. I think you enjoy making money. I think you enjoy spending money. And I think that you enjoy being wise with your money. I think there's a sense of like investing and putting the work in for you. I think that I think you're one of those people that probably checks your bank account more than the average person, or you always know what you're spending. I think you're very aware of it, probably because you do put hard work in it. So yeah, there is this picture I'm getting of you is that you really, you can make things happen. I think you're a little flashy. And I get that from the Magician and the Empress. I think you like attention. And the part of you that is the Fool is you really don't take yourself too seriously. However, I don't think you ever want to be the butt of the joke, or you ever want to be, you know, laughed at. I don't think that would ever, that won't sit well with you. And I don't think it happens that often. And if it did, you would either leave the room or gracefully. But I think you are very much in control of how you're seen and how you behave, and how you want others to see you, which is perfectly fine. Let's get a little bit about your love style. I'm going to get 2 cards to see, let's just get just a snapshot of your either current relationship or your relationship that you're thinking about right now. What does that look like? King of Swords, Queen of Swords, that's fun. So I would say, because there's really almost no other way to look at this, if we're talking about a relationship, I'm going to say that you or your partner are either the King of Swords or the Queen of Swords, meaning that we have 2 high royalty partners. However you function as a couple, I definitely think you are high functioning, and I think that you are, you're a force. You may be a little much to deal with. I feel like when you guys are together, there's almost like a stifling energy. I don't think when you guys are together, you get to be the Fool. I don't think you even get to be the Magician. You probably get to be the Empress because of that like femininity, that like sexuality or sensuality that gets to come into the relationship that I think is important for you and your partnership. But I definitely think that whatever you have going or had going, or I just think that it's almost problematic to me, but it might completely work for you. This might be something that you really get a lot out of. But yeah, let's get 2 more relationship cards for you. And well, this would make one thing that I didn't shuffle, but I really did. So let's just keep going with it. We've got the Knight of Swords, and then of course we have the 4 of Swords. So again, if we're doing a relationship and we've got these 4 heavy sword cards, or all sword cards are heavy, this to me is rest, this is recovery, this is recouping, this is a card of really just taking time for yourself mentally. And I think the mental in your life that becomes physical and overpowers all the other aspects of your life. I think that you definitely need to rest. And I feel like if this is your relationship, or if it was, I feel like you probably didn't get to rest that much. I feel like there was a bit of a show. There was a bit of a you guys were like just on display. And it's weird that I would say that, because swords are, it is more of like it's your mind, it's your thoughts, it's like your clarity, the decisions you make, it's not so much your actions, but our thoughts control our actions. They control everything. So if we are very, very high functioning in our thoughts, then I think the actions follow in a good way. And I think that's kind of like how these really successful people do almost appear to like curate their lives and their appearances, and it's like it's a story that they've kind of created, but then they're living it. They've made it happen, I guess is what I'm saying. They've kind of manifested it, and it is actually happening for them. I do think there's a big part of you that functions that way outside of a relationship, but also in a relationship. And you do probably attract partners who are very heady, very intense, very smart, very confident, probably a lot like you. You probably basically attract the male version of yourself, which is great, but I don't know, kind of tiring almost, which is why I think when you are in those heels, or when you are thinking about what you're going to wear, and if you're like, oh, I've got those heels and they go with, this dress or whatever, I think that's when you get to be more of like just this in command of yourself. And I mean, it's weird to put that on a pair of shoes, and you might even pick the heels and be like, I never wear heels. I just think the picture's really pretty, which is how I feel. But even that, I'm like, I get it, because if I were to put those heels on, even though it's not me or my style, I would still own it, and I would have to wear them with something like equally cool and perfect on the top half. So I don't know, just together I would become this like, I'd be like the magician. I'd be like, I'm just gonna put together the perfect outfit, and it's gonna make me the perfect person tonight, or whatever. But I like that. And there is an element of the fool in that, because it is like you are always thinking about how you can just not start fresh, but different ways that people can see you, different ways you can be seen. I do think there's a big part of you that likes to be seen. And again, nothing wrong with that. I feel like I might have repeated that from before. But the Knight of Swords, I mean, we almost have the whole swords. Well, we're missing the page. I mean, and that'll probably come up next, which again, I can't stress enough that I did shuffle this. But the Knight of Swords is just yet another younger sword energy. One that I don't actually love, because I think of the Rider-Waite Smith deck, and I think of them, it just being like almost like a hasty, just way too big in the head, like too big in the britches, just really thinks they're the smartest person in the room. They're not mature enough to know that they're not. And so if this could represent like a shadow side of yourself or your partner, maybe this is you if you have like an ugly moment. Ugly meaning like internally, you know, something's going on and you're showing a darker side of yourself. It could be something like that. But yeah, there's something like just reckless and hasty and just truly maddening, but also irritating and unappealing to me about the Knight of Swords. But it is an energy I think we all need and we all have in us. I mean, we all have all these cards in us. But yes, you have it too. So if we get into, let me see what other people are seeing in you from like a romantic standpoint. And let's just take these up a little bit here. So I would say like romantically, you know, I've seen other artists like freak out over their cards not being level, and I get it. I could spend a lot of time just trying to make them perfect. And I do, as I do this, thank goodness, excuse me, as I do this and I move this up, it's like the Fool takes front center, which I find very interesting. Because I would almost say that's you. Like if we pulled one card of the whole stack and made it your card, so far to me, excuse me, it's the Fool, which is the card says bliss, and the Fool is blissed out. He really is. He's just so fresh and new and eager. But I don't think you're the Fool when you're in a partnership. I think when you're in a partnership, you have to be the Queen of Swords. And I think that when you're not in a partnership, you really do get to be the Fool, and the Magician and the Empress. And it's not to say that I like you more when you're not in a relationship. I just think that you need to either bring other elements into your relationship or focus on your partner bringing more to the table outside of either monetary success or kind of like but they get so much attention, they behave a certain way and everyone loves it. Like I just feel like there's you tend to date or you're in a relationship with someone who is probably quite accomplished and knows it, and can be difficult to deal with as a result of that. Okay, so let me just do a snapshot of your relationship or your last, whatever you're thinking of right now. Let's do a snapshot of that. This is a line on love. Okay. Now, I'm going to say it again, okay? Because I did shuffle these cards. It does look like the Suit of Swords did not get shuffled properly, but they did. They really did. And I'm going to just say that if this is if this sums up you romantically, it's a lot. And I'm going to say that you are someone who really needs to, and you need to get back to being the Fool, the Magician, the Empress. I think as we do this spread and it becomes more about a partnership and less about you, it becomes a lot heavier. It becomes almost darker, or quite frankly darker. It becomes less appealing. Maybe you become less appealing when you're in a relationship. Maybe you start off wearing the heels because it's fun and it makes you feel good, and then at the end maybe you're wearing them because it's like you feel like you have to, or I don't know, but there is definitely an element that is creeping in here. The more we get away from you and the more we get into your relationship. So I don't love that. It's not like a tremendously good feeling. And there is, this last line is tough decisions, heartbreak. It is like the feeling of there's pain here, it's just not nice. And if you and your partner are the King and Queen of Swords, or if that's who you tend to gravitate towards, I think that the outcome is always pretty heavy. I'm not saying it's always bad. You might have your own way of navigating it, but it does feel like a lot. And then for the Ace of Swords here, again, this is the more positive and happier with that. I mean, you got the Ace of Pentacles, so that's that new beginning, that potential. And this is, this is a positive card. You probably start the relationship off thinking like this one's going to be different. I'm going to approach this differently. I'm going to think about this differently. And then you probably basically have like a couple tough decisions you have to make regarding like how you want to approach the relationship, how you want to structure it. And then I think it just becomes sheer chaos. So you're either attracting over and over the wrong kind of man, or I could make a joke about you, but I'm not going to, because that's not at all, it's not even nice, and it actually is not even funny. There's no sense in it. But there is, regardless, there's something in this last line to tell me that whatever the relationship is, it's a lot. And, I mean, we had the caption, "You fancy," and like, I think you are fancy. That's the thing. I think you really are. I think you are lovely in so many ways. I think you are just really beautiful to like look at and speak to and hear your thoughts on life. I think you have tremendous, I think you have a lot of goodness in you. I definitely think you can be difficult and in your own head and emotional. But I think that for whatever reason, your last relationship or current relationship has made you a little more nutty than you'd like to be. So getting back to this top line, which is incredible for me, for you, it would be incredible for me too. It's a great top line. Let's get you back to that, and that's gonna take cutting out some of this sword energy, some of these thoughts, some of this like mental torment that it seems like is going on. And I mean, I don't need to harp on it anymore. Let's get some positive. Let's get a positive for you, okay? Because this is, we want to get some positive. So I'm going to say, okay, let's do 2 positives. So we've got Strength and Queen of Cups. And this, to me, this is positive. And I like this because we're going to break up the sword energy with this, and we're going to pop these in here. And we're going to say that, like, again, let's get back to like, let's get some emotions. Let's think less. Let's feel more. Let's like tap into our inner strength. I mean, that is the Magician. That is the Empress. That is even the Fool. But that there's so much power in your strength. But it's not like a overbearing, dominating feeling. It's really how you like, how you are. You're strong. You're intentional. You are good. And I think there's like, you have a wisdom to you. I think you have just something inside of you that is very courageous. I do think you're quite controlled. I do think you've got some fire. And I love to see that paired with the Queen of Cups, because they're the cups are water and strength is fire, and there's just this complexity. But I very much dig it. And, like in a relationship, I would want to be the Queen of Swords some of the time, for sure. I would want to be the Queen of Swords in any argument. I would want to be the Queen of Swords if like I ever felt that I had to defend myself or explain a situation. But in general, I'd want to be the Queen of Cups, because she is the one that's like, she's so much Empress and so much like beautiful, just beautiful movement, and yet like a calmness as well, just a confidence, just a little more, I'm just throwing words out there. I was going to say serene, and I don't even know why, but I'm thinking of a card that does make the Queen of Cups seem serene to me, but just sincere, beautiful, kind, and emotionally in tune, whereas I think you've really lost that. You've really lost touch with your emotions, and that's not good. That's not good. You can't be all swords all the time. But you do, you do have that energy to you. And that is awesome. But I think this is where I'll end it. So you are fancy. You definitely are. I do think you enjoy dressing up. I think you are someone who, you're seen, you're painted with a pretty lovely brush, and you're seen that way. So I hope you know that and appreciate that. And I hope everyone else sees that in you too. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to read for you again. Thanks so much. All right, Light and Bone Tarot, thank you so much. So happy to be here. I'm so excited to be reading and doing this fun topic. So right now we are doing, there's 3 pictures of shoes, and I asked you to pick the picture that kind of like, I don't know, just makes you feel something. And I don't even think this has to be like, you don't even have to overthink it. It's just, it could be the shoes you want. It could be the shoes you never wear and wish you did. I mean, just as like picking a crystal on a deck of cards, just there's something about it that speaks to you. That really is, I think, what's going on here with this. So yeah, you picked the sneakers with the title Me. I love these sneakers. These are, sneakers I would wear like every day. I'd probably buy them thinking I would just wear them like with one outfit, and then I would wind up wearing them like, to the grocery store, out to dinner, out to drinks, hiking, like walking my dog, you get it. So yeah, Me. Okay, and I'm trying to get better at like getting this relationship snapshot and incorporating that. But yeah, what makes you stand out. We're gonna try to figure this out. So we'll get a little snapshot of what it is that makes you stand out. The last reading was like all swords, and I'm so sick of seeing them. But this is different. This is more fun. We've got the Devil, 2 of Swords, and 9 of Swords, which I don't see come up that much. The 9 of Swords is basically just straight anxiety. It's just like 9 swords just piercing you, tormenting you. Swords are mental. They represent like your decisions, your mind, I don't know why I can't think of another word to describe that, but basically like your thoughts, not so much your emotions, but then your thoughts lead to everything. So yes. And then the Devil, I mean, and this, because these cards are pink, it's like you just see a pitchfork and it's no big deal. But the Devil's a heavy card, and coupled with the 2 of Swords, it's like, I don't know, like I feel like you're naughty. I feel like you're someone who you always want to do the right thing, but you don't always do the right thing. I feel like the Devil is you, but not in like a demonic bad way. Not the point at all that I'm trying to make. I think it's you in a way that like you're definitely saucy, you're definitely feisty, and you definitely have like a I won't even say that you have a dark side to you. That's not for me to say, but I would say that you have a side of you that is like tempestuous. And sometimes words come to me and I get so insecure because I never use that word, and I feel like I like want to put this on pause and make sure I even know what that word means. But there is definitely like but I think, okay, the side of you that is, we'll just call it like colorful. I think I think you do kind of battle with this, and I think there are decisions where you probably know you should pick another decision or another option, and then you go with maybe the lesser of the outcomes. You take the path that's going to lead to maybe a little more chaos, a little more hurt feelings, a little less of all the good things and a little more of all the stressful things. I mean, we all do that, but I just think there's a little more grit to you. Again, that makes you interesting and probably fun and dynamic. It doesn't mean you're a bad person at all. I think it just, I mean, I don't know what it means, but it's not bad. But I think this does plague you. I actually think that you want to be, there are things about you I think you're working on being better. And when I say you want to be a better person, that doesn't mean you aren't a good person at all. Wanting to be a better person means you're actually probably a good person and you want to be even better. I mean, if someone's at a point where they're saying consciously or subconsciously, but if you're saying it, you're probably conscious about it, that you want to be a better person. If you're thinking that, then that's real. And maybe some decisions you've made in the past have plagued you. Maybe you really are at a point in your life where you're thinking about things that you kind of regret, or they kind of like ick you out, or you wish you didn't do them, or now if they were in front of you, you'd be doing them differently. I get that for you. And, this can come down to like friendships, relationships. I like to make it about relationships unless it's like specifically not. But yeah, let's make it about relationships. So let's see who you are in a relationship, and then we'll have another line about that. So in a relationship, I think you're the driver, but maybe because you're bossy, maybe because you are someone that people would rather agree with than disagree with, or please than displease. But yeah, you carry some momentum, you carry some weight. I think you definitely get the respect of a lot of people. I think sometimes you would rather just leave it all behind and not deal with any of the situations you get yourself caught up in. But up here where we see swords and a major, here we see pentacles and a major, and this top line's like whatever problematic, but this next line, it just makes me think that like you really are working towards you're working on building a home, you're working on building a career, you're working on saving money. I think you're definitely like finding a balance with all the pieces of your life, all your thoughts, all your actions, all your input, all your money, all your savings, like you name it. I think you're really working towards finding that balance. And then to have another Pentacles card here, the Seven of Pentacles, I mean, that's another one that makes me think like you're just working hard. You're saving money. You're trying to show the world that even if you're feisty and kind of a hothead, you definitely know what you're doing and you can get shit done, and you are really actually quite mature and quite responsible at the end of the day, which is funny because I mean that could be the person that just, like I said, wears sneakers to everything, to like a dinner that you'd be way underdressed in sneakers for, to and they'd be the same pair of shoes you put on to walk your dog earlier that day, like in the rain. I mean, I don't know if that's you, but there's a part of that theme I think that plays out where it's like I don't know. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But the Chariot here, to further get a snapshot of you, I like the Chariot. The Chariot there's definitely a momentum, I think, and I think you accomplished what you set out to do, and right now you are putting more of the emphasis on I think work, focusing on making money, saving money, figuring out that path for yourself. So now let's see, relationship speaking, and what makes you stand out. What does make you stand out in a relationship? Let's just start there. What makes you? So we've got the Page of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and then we have the Star. And these are pretty cards. These are super pretty cards. This is like, the Page of Swords, the Knight of Wands. This is the most immature energy, but still mature. It's still someone who has a command of what they want. And I like the Page of Swords so much more than these sword cards, because it's like, it doesn't come with the weight. There's something very light about it. Like you're really trying to maybe approach situations differently, think about things differently, like get yourself off this top line of heaviness and kind of like that grit that doesn't always need to be there. Everything doesn't have to be a struggle. Your relationship doesn't have to be a struggle. And what makes you stand out, I think, is that you really, you do have an ability, I think, to turn things. You can be this person inside or in your head or in your thoughts or in your problems, but then you can come down here and you can be this person. And then the Knight of Wands, like that's a fun, active person. That's someone that's like so fun to be around. I think they're lighthearted. I think they're open. They're excited. They're passionate. Like this is a fun line. And then the Star, I mean, who doesn't want to be the Star? There's something spiritual about it. There's something like, I don't know, like you're just in touch with yourself. You're in touch with the universe. You're like a little moon child or a little star child. I mean, it's like, you can just sprinkle pixie dust around and kind of reinvent yourself. But I do think the Star shows you like that, it shows you that you can, I do think it's almost like that you can make your dreams come true. You just really have to work at it. You have to believe in it. You have to show yourself that you're willing to put the work in, that you want to change, that you want to be a good person, that you want to be better. And then with that, you will get some more of this younger, lighthearted energy that you need to succeed, you know, but not this top line. Yeah, and this is a great line here. I like the middle a lot. So let's get some more romantically speaking. Let's get let's add to this a little bit. Let's just see. Yeah, what's another thing? What's just another thing that people? What sets you apart? Because you are. I think you're a force to be reckoned with. I think you're really working on yourself right now. I don't get a clear snapshot of who you are right now, but let's find out like what sets you apart. And I like, you know, when a king and queen come up, the king came up here, obviously. I like seeing this because it makes me think that there's a strong command. And I would so much rather, considering that you have this intensity to you, I'd rather sing the King of Wands than the King of Swords. Because the King of Wands gives me hope that you are really, that you can get out of your head, that you can, that your actions can be as positive and good as you want them to be, that you can, that you've done the work, I think, to really control your thoughts, to actually make your actions back up what positive thoughts would, so because, you know, your thoughts become your actions, there's all these different layers of where it goes, and I'm not doing it justice at all, but it starts with your thoughts, let's put it that way. And if your action is positive and good and strong and just like, if you really take command, then I think you're doing the right thing, and I think you've really started working on just the path your brain goes down. The Eight of Cups it's a little bit different. It's a card. There's some kind of like a moving on. I think there's like these different maybe episodes that you're going through emotionally. And if I say like what sets you apart, I just think you're dynamic. I think you are someone who, if someone starts talking to you, they're like, oh, you're different. Like, you aren't who I thought you were. And maybe it's because you can come off initially one way, but then once someone gets to know you, whether it's like over a quick conversation, a drink, or a year or years or whatever, I think they see that there's a lot of layers to you, and that you really have a lot of like different passions and cares and things you're working towards. I don't think you talk about them very much. I think you're pretty guarded. I get the impression you're not a very open person. And I think it's because you really don't want people to see that you maybe were angry or bitter or jealous or sly at some point, and you are trying to move away from that. And I think like through just almost like meditation in your own way, whatever that means to you, and through hard work and through achievement, I think you really, really are going to be a very good person, a happy person. And I say that like romantically speaking, you know, this carries over into relationships. This becomes who you are in your relationships. And let's do another, who are you in your, like, we know what sets you apart. I think it's the fact that I do think you're dynamic, and I think that you've been through a lot, and once people get to know that about you, they really respect the person you are and what the path you're going down and how you're working on yourself. What's something that people really love about you? I'm gonna go here and see what do they love about you. Well, this is fun. So the Seven of Cups it's like like fantasies, dreams, kind of like wishes. It makes me think sometimes of like a genie rubbing a lamp. Like all these things can appear, and they can be, you know, it can be like a looks can be deceiving kind of thing. But but there is a magic to it. There's this mystery, there's this intrigue. And then the Wheel of Fortune, I'm like, you really have a lot of layers. I mean, if I had to sum you up, it's layers. The Wheel of Fortune is a funny card. It's like, I think it's karma. It makes me think of cycles, beginning and ending. But it definitely makes me think of karma. And I think karma is something that weighs very heavily on your mind. I think that you are someone who maybe at some point you didn't think much about karma, or maybe you were even someone who said, I don't believe in karma. And it's funny because I've been this top line. I don't know if I've been it for decades, but I've been it for a long time. Like, I'm not anymore, but I have been this top line. And I remember when I was this top line, I was like, I don't believe in karma. You know, good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people, and I don't believe in it. But now I do believe in karma. And I don't necessarily believe that, like, if you do something good's going to happen to you, and vice versa. But I do believe that at some point there's a reckoning. There is a judgment. That what goes around will ultimately come around in whatever way. And I think that when I see for you these cards and what people love about you, I think it's that there is a goodness to you, and it's like an earned goodness. You know, you aren't someone who's just sweet and innocent and nothing else. You're a little worn in, you're a little damaged, you're a little amazing. I mean, you are that pair of sneakers. Like, that pair of sneakers, you know, it's been through a lot, and yet they're still so loved. They have so many stories to tell. I mean, they'll just, you know, you'll wear them until you completely are and utterly tired of them, or until they just get phased out into the next cycle. But I do think that I think the more people get to know you, the more they like you. And if this wasn't always the case, it is absolutely the case for you now. And I see that you're working on yourself. I mean, you're really working on yourself. And I respect that. The people around you respect that. I think there's just a lot of goodness to you. And let's do another lane here for, let's do what's important to you in a relationship? What are you looking to stand out in your partner? Because the question here is like, what makes you stand out, but what do you like when that stands out in your partner? So let's find out about that. The Lovers and the Hierophant. Okay, so I think you really do seek a very kind and loving partnership. I think you really do seek a relationship, and I think that all this work you're doing, I think part of it in your head, you're thinking like, I do want love. I do want the relationship out of this. And I think that you are seeking a partner who really cares about that, who at their core also really wants to be partnered up. And, you know, I think this is going to be a fun relationship because you have so much dynamicism to you that you're not going to find someone like, I feel like you would actually gravitate towards someone a little more on the dullish side, and I don't know why I just said that, but that's really neither here nor there. But whoever this person is, I think you do seek someone who really is good and honest. I think honesty is important to you. I think loyalty is important to you. I think the things like the foundations of a relationship, the things that are supposed to make them good and stand out, I think are important to you. And, you know, it's weird because it's not important. It's important. It seems like it's important to everyone, but a lot of people waste a lot of time in relationships that aren't delivering those basics. I certainly have, and I'm sure anyone listening to this has too. But I think for you will have a much more like no nonsense approach to this. If you, I just don't think you're going to waste your time with any negative energy, with anyone who's bad, with anyone who doesn't get you where you want to be. And I mean, I respect that. Yeah, I love that. There's just something really like raw and real about that. And then the Hierophant is like, I mean, this is someone who knows themselves. This is also someone who is, to me, like kind of just like spiritually woke in their own way. It doesn't mean that they're, you know, meditating every day or doing yoga or they're like vegan, but it means that whatever they're doing, they have these like, these commitments, they have their own moral compass. They have their own like rules that they subscribe to, and it's important to them. Like they're not just willy-nilly, you know, I don't know why I want to say like a musician one day and then like something just totally random and has nothing to do with music the next. Like I think they know themselves, and there's something traditional about them, but if not completely traditional, then there's something structured about them. And I think that combined with the lovers too, it really works. Like it's kind of like a no nonsense person, which actually might go back to why I'm like, I kind of see you as someone dull, not dull as in boring or uninteresting or not smart or not attractive, but dull as in like, you know, you aren't necessarily, I don't think at all, going to pick the like hot problematic fuckboy. Like that's not your brand right now. That's not what you, frankly, I don't think you want to be associated with that. But moreover, I just don't think you want to deal with that. I don't think you want any part of that show or that nightmare or that like element of douchebaggery. Like you don't want it. There's no place for it. Because you know you are on a path to work on yourself. And I don't get the impression it's always easy. It's not always easy. I think you're putting a lot of effort into work. And if you were dating someone who was, quite frankly, shitty and took all your energy and resources, you wouldn't be able to focus on work or yourself. And you'd probably find yourself being less of the person you want to be. But I love you as the King of Wands. I really love you as that person. Because you know you're not the King of Cups. You're not the like overly emotional, always in your feels. That's not you. Like your action. You take action. You just command. You're just commanding, and I really dig that about you. I think you're on a journey. I think you're doing things right. I think you're taking your time. I think you're not taking any nonsense. You're in control, and I think whomever you partner up with, or if you are already, I just feel like this is someone that's really gonna like they're gonna be worthy of your affection and respect, and vice versa. But I think I think you're gonna choose wisely. Let's just put it that way. Okay, I hope I didn't feel like I rushed through this. I just was kind of on a roll, and then I get these very distinct snapshots, and I should probably taper it back a little because I want a lot of people to watch this and be like, that's me to a T. And I don't know how many people can watch this and feel that. But if you are watching this and you do feel that, then please let me know, because I would love to hear about it. So thank you so much for watching and listening. Excuse me. Talk soon, and thank you again. Hello, this is Light and Bone Tarot. Thank you so much for being here, for taking the time, for listening, just giving this a chance, because it's your time. And, frankly, it's a pleasure to see that anyone watches these videos. So thank you for being one of the people who does. And, okay, so we have 3 pictures of, oh my goodness, shoes. Yes, 3 pictures of shoes. The last 2 videos were great. I think they spoke to the shoe that was chosen pretty neatly. And now we've got these white sneakers, and I just said on trend. And you can kind of like, I don't want to say barely see the sneakers, but they're definitely not like, front and center. But that's okay. I think that might all be, there's something to it. There's a reason for that. And yeah, we're not going to overthink. Well, actually we will. We're going to overanalyze why you picked this card and what it means. So let's see why you picked on trend, why you picked the white sneakers. And really it's what makes you stand out. So that's the whole point. So I'm just going to start a first line. I've done everyone differently, so I'm just going to keep with that. I'm trying to branch out. What makes you stand out? Let's see what makes you stand out. And I'm going to go crazy on this. This is a lot. Okay. This is my new pink deck, which I really, really love. Okay, so if I look at the top line and I think like what makes you stand out, you're I do think you're emotional. I mean, not overly emotional, but I do think there's an element. You might be overly emotional actually. And the Fool to me is a card of, there is something like the Fool can be like totally confident, totally naive, or like totally selfish. And with that selfishness, I think of someone who is emotional, someone who's always thinking about themselves or worrying about themselves or worrying about their own outcome or their own location, their own stance. Like, and I do think you're a little bit of that person. It's not a bad thing, but I think there's a part of you that is, I don't want to say consumed, but very much you feel a lot. Let's put it that way. And I think the amount that you feel, I think it leads to you over analyzing, overthinking. And I do think you care a lot about what other people think, which interestingly enough, if you picked the white shoes being on trend, maybe there's something to that. Maybe you are someone who does really kind of contemplate what other people think about you. Like it's important to you that people see you a certain way, and that they really like you. But then we have we have a few interesting cards here. Then the Nine of Wands to me, or the Nine of, pardon me, yes, the Nine of Wands. There's a resilience there. That's one of my favorite words for this card. Like and it could be a resilience from your emotions. It could be that like you kind of get so much in your head, in your thoughts, but emotionally, that it causes you maybe like a little pain, a little struggle. It might make you difficult to be around at times. It might make others have to handle you a certain way or treat you a certain way. I'm not sure. I'm just getting the feeling that there's something, but not bad. I think you're interesting. I think you're fun. I think you're a lot of fun, actually, especially when things are going good for you, especially when like you're on, I don't want to say a high, because I don't think that you're a complete and utter roller coaster, but I do think that you're a lot of fun. I think you have great friends. I think you want good things for yourself and for others. And I definitely think there's like a kindness and a sweetness to you, almost like an innocence as well. But I mean, this to me, this card is like, it's kind of like a simple pleasures card. Like it's just, I feel like life is good, life is simple, but yet there's this part of you that always wants things to be more simple. Like you might really struggle when things get complicated, or you might get overwhelmed easily. But I do think you enjoy your friends. I think you have a great group of friends, or even if you have a small group of friends, I think they're wonderful people. I think you've got some really good people in your life. And when I see the Ten of Cups, it always makes me smile, because it's like the accumulation of all the wonderful things that the cups embody, which really is a lot of like intimacy, love, friendship, just good feels. The cups are their emotions, they're like how you feel in your own skin, like who are you, and what makes you stand out. If that was initially the question I asked her, I'm not sure. I think you are beautifully emotional. I think you are always wanting to kind of like reinvent yourself in a way, but I think you love love. I think there's something very, but in all ways, in your family, in your friends, in your relationships, but I do get the feeling that you love hard, you feel a lot. I think it can absolutely wear you out. I think that you're quick to get burned, even if you're not actually being burned. You might feel like you're being burned. I think you're quick to feel an insult or anything that I think things are harder on you than other people. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's like water off your back. And even though you might give that impression, which I honestly don't think you even give that impression, if I'm being honest, I think people know that You're just, I mean, you're a lot, but I like it. I like people who are emotional and they're not afraid to be that way. Like, I love, I mean, I say I love, even though the thought of it stresses me out, but like, the girl that could cry at the bar talking about her boyfriend or her heartbreak, like just an openness and a vulnerability. I think that's a big part of it, vulnerability, which is a really sweet way to be. But this vulnerability can wear you down. It can get to you, and it can cause, it can chip away at you. But the fool is always here to reinvent itself. It's always here to like start fresh and like kind of wipe your slate clean and just like, okay, that was a shitty week or a shitty month, and you really need to snap out of it. Like, good, you're great now. Like, you call your friends, you rally the crowd, and you're like, guys, like, let's do this. Like, I feel good. And I think you're like this a lot in relationships too. And I almost to the point where it's kind of like a roller coaster, but people like it. Like, they're there for the ride. They're there for the kind of like the show that is you. What this has to do with being on trend, I have no idea. But we'll get there. You're either in a really strong relationship, or someone really does get you and love you and embrace you, or you really want that, or both. But if you're not in a relationship, I don't get the impression that you're too bothered by this right now, mainly because I feel like you are someone who can always reinvent. You're also, we've covered this, you're very emotional. So if you aren't in a relationship, I think it can absolutely bum you out. But I think you're very, again, resilient. Like, it might, it might bum you out while you're watching a movie that makes you think that you want to be in that relationship. But then the next day you're out with friends, you're having fun, you're hiking, you're having brunch, whatever. And you're like, yeah, whatever. I'm not worried about it. I'm not seeing anything here about work. I don't know what you do for a living. I don't know how you survive, but I know that you are fun to be around. And I think when it comes to relationships, you're usually pretty successful, if not a bit over the top and even annoying at times. But I think you're good at it, and people like it. And then the Page of Wands, you are creative, and this would be the one card that would make me think you are in your head working towards something. You've kind of like maybe started the brainstorming part of just thinking about where you want to be, where you want to see yourself professionally, what kind of like creative energy you want to throw at something. And this is you starting to be like, look, I am this emotional hot mess. I don't always want to be that person. I need to put my energy towards other things. And I think you are starting to think about that. Like, and I'm going to overuse the word emotions, but I do think that you are, excuse me, getting to a point where you just want to be known for other things. And I'm getting a younger vibe from you, a more youthful energy. Even if you aren't, say, in your early 20s, there's a younger energy to you. And I think that might be because you are, I think, someone who does reinvent themselves quite a bit. And I say reinvent, but I mean you're like a chameleon. I think you can really, you're adaptable. You are, but not in a phony way. There's nothing phony or weird about it. There's nothing even mental about it. I don't think that you're like this, bipolar maniac by any means. And if you were bipolar, really, that's not, I don't mean that in a negative way at all. So I take back what I just said. What I mean is you are completely stable. Whether you have a mental issue or not, you're in control of it, you're on top of it, and you're stable. So I don't think you're a maniac. Let's put it that way. It doesn't matter if you are bipolar or not. I think you're in control. You know what you want. You know what serves you. You know what works for you, and you're good. Yeah, and I think this does make you stand out. There's something really unique about you. People want your input. Quite frankly, they want your company. They want a little bit of your emotion. They want a little bit of your sadness, your happiness. They want that vulnerability that you're bringing to life, to your conversations, to your relationships, to even like a meeting at work, whatever kind of meeting it can be. Like, I feel like you're someone when you open your mouth and you say something, a lot of the times people are like, I don't know if I should just like laugh at her or like write it down. It was so brilliant. Like, there's just these extremes to you, I feel like, that are really nice. So You definitely stand out. But let's get a snapshot of uh, what do people really love about you? I mean, what are they loving about you? Because I think there's a lot to love about you. There's a lot to love about you. You know, and these are two great cards. They're two major cards. The moon and the world. I mean, what do we say about these cards? Except that like they're both so. Okay, okay. Let me just calm down for a minute and think about this. So the world is like it's accomplishment, it's completion, it's full circle, it's a little bit of what goes around comes around, but it's not really karmic to me. It's more of just this like this is your show. It's gonna work out exactly how you want it to. It is it's your world, but for the better. And when I see the world card, it makes me think that there are endings and new beginnings both at the same time. And if I look at this with the Page of Wands, um, I think that like you are starting a new chapter. I really think you're saying goodbye to some other behaviors or thoughts or tendencies, and you're just evolving a little. You're just stepping it up ever so slightly. It's just another level of maturity, but it it is attractive, and it is something that people really really like about you because they see this. Like you aren't keeping your life a secret. People can get to know you pretty quickly, and not all of you, but they're gonna get an idea of what you like and don't like and what gets you going. I think pretty quickly after getting to know you. And I think that with the world, it's like no, there's a lot more to you. You might think you know me, but I'm working on this, I'm stopping this, I'm starting this, and kind of like the Fool, but in a much more intense, serious way, but in a very good way. It's a great card. And the moon, I like the moon. I struggle with it. I think of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck moon, and I really feel like the moon is like, it's mystery. It's like, I don't know, there's like ritual. There are things in the moon that make me think like just these kind of like hidden treasures that are you, these aspects of you that are illusions, but then they're there. They're actually tangible. It's like you, and again, there is that part of me where it's like you can reinvent yourself. You can cycle. You're probably very cyclical, which could go to, I don't want to bring it back to any like mental illness because I don't want to harp on that in any way. You may have that, you may not, it doesn't matter. But I think there's something cyclical about you, and how you handle your affairs, and things that make you happy, things that make you sad, things that weigh on you, and so forth. And I see that in the moon, but people, this is what makes you you. This is what makes you stand out. You are you can be heavy, but in general, I think you're a breath of fresh air. I think you're interesting to people. I think you're a lot more spiritual than you realize. And I think you're headed down a path where you're starting to think about this a lot more. And as you get into relationships, or the one you're in, maybe it gets deeper, or you think back to your last one, I don't know that you ever took relationships very seriously, even if you were devastated by someone. I don't know how serious you were, because I think it would be hard to discern if you really were serious, or if it's just you, or are you just so are you so overwhelmed emotionally by so many things that, like, did you really care about that person as much as you thought you did, or was it just the routine that you go through when you break up or when you deal with like relationship issues? But I feel like now you are turning into someone who is more like more construct. Like you're figuring out who you are, and you are developing that, and you are really coming into your own. And it is sexy. It's great to behold. It's great to be a part of, and it does, quite frankly, make you stand out. I don't know why you're on trend. I don't know why you pick those sneakers. Maybe because they do, like, they're cool. They're new. They're
they're simple, quite frankly. They don't really bring out any emotion. And I think maybe there's something just flat and basic about them that appeals to you. Like, it doesn't make you feel one way or the other. It doesn't make you feel like, oh my God, I need to get dressed up, or oh, I should be dressing up more. Like, I don't know. It's like they could almost disappear into the background. And I feel like something about that does appeal to you, because you do have, at any given moment, a lot going on, but in a fun way. Let's see what you gravitate towards. What are you looking for, to stand out in someone that you're dating? What's important to you? So we've got the Magician, the Emperor, and the Knight of Cups. Um, so I think you want someone who's definitely kind of like in control, and that's fine. I mean, I don't think you want someone that's like telling you what to do, but I think you want someone that you're not going to have to worry about. You know what I mean? Like, worrying about yourself is enough. Dealing with your own issues is enough, quite frankly. You want someone who really is in control of their emotion, in control of their actions. You want someone who's disciplined, who is probably not too temperamental, not too emotional. I think that appeals to you, and I think actually you probably tend to gravitate towards like an opposites attract kind of situation. I feel that for you, that you're not. I don't feel like you're gonna date or seriously link up with someone who is the carbon copy of you. I think you're going to find it to be someone who is almost the complete opposite of you, and you're going to find that stabilizing, interesting, attractive, and they're going to find you just to be like the missing piece to everything that they've wanted. Like, you're going to bring so much amazing drama and energy and emotion, that's really going to help them grow and evolve. And there's a little bit of everything in this last line. Like, if what you're looking for, the magician can do anything. They can make anything happen. That's someone with sheer power, sheer mind control, body control. It's someone who can do anything. They can think it, they can walk it, they can talk it. They are good, but yet it's not that they're not good, but they're a little bit of everything. But they're skillful, and there's a power there, and they just have the faculty and the resources to make whatever they want happen. And you don't really have that. You aren't as dimensional, because you have strengths that are greater in more. You bring more to the table in a smaller group of sections, whereas I feel someone like the magician has this like wide net that they cast, and they could be a jack of all trades, a master of none, but they still can appear to be someone who just can do just about anything. Kind of like a fake it till they make it person, but that works. The Emperor is, I mean, they're strong, they're skilled, they're annoyingly precise. They are not my cup of tea. However, I get it. I get that kind of like authority father figure. I get it, and I get it for you, because it's not really you. But I like the Emperor with your moon. I like the Magician with your world. Like, I love that you get to be the fool that kind of reigns over all this and just like slaps a little like fun and sense and gets everyone else out of their own head. That's what you do, and that's what they love about you. And the Knight of Cups, like, yeah, sure, you want the Knight of Cups. This is someone who's also emotional. They're not you. We should have the King of Cups up here for you, but you are. The Knight of Cups is someone who's still, they want to talk to you. They want to get to know you. They're not going to have all the patience in the world for you, but you know what? That's good, because they're not your therapist. They're not your mother. They're not even your best girlfriend that you turn to. Like, you can show them your sloppy sides, but in general, like, this is part of you really working on other parts of you. This is a part of you working on other parts of you. And that is, to me, the Page of Wands. And that's just maturing and growing. And I see success for you in a relationship. I really do. let's get like an either current or upcoming relationship like status here. Ace of Swords and Five of Cups. Yeah, the Ace of Swords are oh, this is our first sword card, so that's good. This is mind. So you are getting more command over your thoughts, and your thoughts do control your emotions. I don't think your emotions control your thoughts. I think your thoughts control your emotions. And I'll be honest, you're all emotion. You're not a whole lot of thought, or at least you lack that aspect. I'm not at all saying you aren't smart. I'm not saying you're not accomplished at all, but your emotions are your defining piece. And I like that we're getting the Ace of Swords in here. So upcoming relationship, it is definitely a source of inspiration, and you are really, again, like with this Page of Wands, you're turning over a new leaf, you're trying new things out, and you're just stepping into your own. And it tracks with this, because if we're gonna get the Five of Wands here, or pardon me, the Five of Cups, there's also a little bit of a loss. There's someone who has said goodbye to some things, left some things behind. I'm trying to think, like, I just think in your current relationship or your new relationship, I really do think that you are going to have to abandon some of your old ways. And I think it's as you move forward and try to kind of focus on new things and grow in different ways, you are probably going to have to suffocate some of those emotions that you felt and really turn to. That's what I get out of this card. Like, it's almost like this loss of you, this little piece of you is going to die off, but it's not going to be a bad thing. I think it's going to get replaced with the swords. And because there's got to be, a door open, door closing kind of thing. And I do think in your upcoming relationship, you are going to, or current, you are going to show a new side of yourself, more thought, more care to your thoughts, more care to your words, more care to your actions, more intention, and a little less tears, a little less, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even think I need to say it. I've said emotion enough, so we don't need to say that again. But yeah, I like this journey that you're on. I really do. And I think as far as being on trend, like the trend that is you, like you're on point. You're doing it right. Like if you were ever messy, you're not anymore. Like, let me just say that you're not. If you have issues, like real issues that you're working with, like you are working through them. You really are. And you're so vulnerable and sweet, and your friends love this about you. Your family is probably just, wants to strangle you every time they see you, but they love you. They love you so much. And I think that what I meant is the people that are closest to you are probably like, oh my gosh, you're a hot mess, quite frankly. Not a bad thing. It is actually, I think it's dead sexy. Yeah, so without going on too many random tangents here, you're doing good, and your relationships are doing really good. I think they're doing great. You're doing everything great. And yeah, I mean, I pick up the cards like I want to turn more over, but I think we're at a good place to stop. So let me just say thank you. So thank you. I didn't just say it. I did. Okay, have a great day or night, and please come back again and watch more. This is just a thank you, a really, really sincere, wholehearted thank you. I'm new to this. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'm cringing for myself for when I do get those funky comments, or I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, my audio, my voice, my words, that sound I make in the back of my throat when I'm thinking about something, the repetition in my very limited vocabulary when I read, but I'm working on it all, and I just really I hope something that I say works for you and tracks and makes you want to come back and watch more. So, yeah, this is my thank you. Okay, great. Thanks so much. I hope to see you soon. And since I'm here, I think I do have to start asking people to subscribe, like, comment. I don't know what order you do it in. I don't know if you ever do it, whatever feels right. But I'll just put that out there. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.